Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today I'm going to be doing a very special review of Stephen Erikson's This River Awakens. And I say special because, everyone on this who watches this channel knows that Erikson's my favorite writer. And Erikson, of course, is well known among us booktubers as the author of the wonderful epic fantasy series, the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And that, of course, that series is unequivocally my favorite of all time. So you can imagine my trepidation when I began reading his first published novel, This River Awakens. Will I enjoy it? Will I be disappointed? Can Erikson write contemporary literature with the same depth and sense of awe that I experienced with his fantasy literature? Of course, for me, the answer was a resounding yes. Whether or not you as a reader can overcome the bias you already had towards his fantasy literature and read this as its own thing, that's going to be up to you. But for me, it was yes. I really enjoyed it. The story is a coming-of-age story. It's about a boy named Owen. It takes place sometime in the early 70s, I think 71. He isn't the most likable kid to start with, but as you come to understand him and his point of view, you start to see where he's coming from and why he is the way he is. We get introduced, of course, to a bunch of other characters in Owen's circle, and ultimately, though, it always comes back to him. This is enforced by Erikson's choice to write Owen's sections in first person and the rest of the book in third person. Very interesting choice, but I had no problem following that. It didn't interrupt my reading flow or anything like that, and it kind of just seemed to fit the story and blend with the atmosphere created here. The slow, gradual introduction of the setting and characters ultimately brings us to an event that defines the rest of the book. Once this event happens, the narrative kind of just takes off in several directions at a brisk and yet thoughtful pace. Owen wonders about life, like most young boys do, and but he brings up a bunch of questions that we all ask ourselves as we're growing up. Erikson lets us answer these questions kind of for him as the reader, pointing out the various ways things can be perceived by intelligent children. There's questions like what makes poor people poor, and can two different truths be used to make a lie, and there's themes of how the chains of life can weigh one down and how difficult it can be to escape those chains. There's those hints of generational trauma, and he also really definitely touches on those unnamed vows that children make and the natural hierarchies formed among them. I really like how he did that. So the novel alternates between the slow growth into adulthood that normally occurs and the striking series of events that force that growth too quickly. This is balanced with a reverence for the rite of passage into adulthood. And there's also a deep undercurrent of distrust for institutions and traditional schooling. There's a deep message in here that the best lessons learned are life lessons, not those drummed into the mind in front of a chalkboard. Were there times where both Owen and one of the other fascinating characters, Jennifer, seemed a little too smart for their age? Sure. Yeah. But it can be extremely difficult balancing the need to write something intelligently with accurately portraying an age range. I don't think it's a problem here, though, at all. I really enjoyed the interaction with words too much to care about the accuracy of a 13-year-old's wisdom. So, yeah. With this book, it may be tempting to read into the text and look for hints and echoes of what is to come for the Book of the Fallen, if you've read that. I wouldn't suggest that. I quickly stopped myself from doing that, and I just enjoyed the narrative for what it was. It's a wonderfully written, dark, coming of age tale with thoughtful prose, a compelling narrative, and a satisfying all around experience. So I would put your trepidations aside and enjoy this contemporary dive into literature from one of my and many others' favorite authors. And Yeah, like I said, just enjoy it. It was a really well put together novel, and I loved it. Um, can't wait to talk about it in the future with my friends on the channel here. And until then, check it out. Be good to each other, and thank you for watching.